Kelvin Gary, how's it going? How's New York?
Um, it's here's what I'll say. It is not the New York that you know, that I know, that most people know. Um, but it is the New York in the sense that it's remaining tough.
Hmm.
It is the what you know of New York from a standpoint of resilience, right? To the restaurant workers and owners, like one of my favorite places that I go is at like Cafe News on University, and it's like, no more indoor dining, and big snowstorm coming, and they're like, "We'll be here tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow." I was like, "Yep, see you tomorrow." It's like, you know what? Just an effort. Just keep pressing, right? And for as much as it's like, you know, look, a good part of the city is bounced. It's been like, we're out. See you in Florida. It's like, you ain't catching me in Florida. I grew up with that. You're not catching. Love you, but you're not catching me in Florida. There's a good. The people who stayed are like, tough. So it's cool. It's cool to see, and it's like it'll be even more awesome to see it start to come back, and it'll be more awesome to feel and know that you, more than the people who left and then came back, had something to do with it staying and coming back, right? So that's kind of how I'm choosing to look at it, I guess you could say.
So speaking to that, anybody, not a lot of people know that, you've been my boss, advisor, amazing, just human in my life, great inspiration. You have an incredible fitness, gym, and it's in the middle of New York City on 14th Street, which is, the kind of the epicenter for fitness in New York. And so many people have come and gone, pandemic or no pandemic, just, the trends have come in and come out, and BSF is one of those things that has always been there, and it's always stayed true. What do you think is the key to that success?
Culture. I'll say it very just that confidently. Culture and the environment that you create for your staff and for your members, right? Having a solid business model is also a big part of that, right? Having a business model that can sustain, a pandemic is one thing, but then having a culture of treating people right, having a culture of innovating. And because, for us, it's, using templates and changing our templates and using different online. So we've always tried to like innovate and change what we do, right? And even more so in a time where it's like, you better change the way you do business or it won't be there, because no one can come into a personal training studio right now. So you better innovate or die, right? But like always trying to, just like even like right now, I'm like switching equipment around, trying to be like, yeah, how can we do things better or differently, even with the space that we're given, right? So just trying to think from like a innovative mindset and trying to like get my staff to think that way too. But yeah, just having a culture of like the right culture of treating people right, making sure the clients, what they need kind of come first. And then for me, making sure that my staff and employees know that kind of if they need anything from me, that I'm always here for them as well. What was that? Peter Drucker that said, culture eats strategy for lunch, which is true, right? You can have the same. I have had the same. There's a pretty well-known place down the street from us that had on their Instagram yesterday that they were going out of business, right? And it's like
The giant behemoth, yeah.
Yeah, and they had all the bells and whistles and lights and you name it, right? Very flashy, very nice. I'm sure they're great people. The model and the culture might not have been able to help them sustain. So
That's
I think
the interesting thing. What you say is innovation, and I think a lot of people, would mistake that as being trendy or like what's the current thing. And I love the fact, and I know that even when I was working under you, I tried to keep bringing in that, like, you know, whatever the sexy or whatever that was, and you were so true to your guns. And as you innovated and evolved, it still stayed within a logical framework of progress. It wasn't like, oh, cycling's cool, let's grab that. Oh, functional fitness is cool, let's grab some of that. You were very much like, we do programming here. This is how we do it, and this is how it continues.
Yeah, well, you know, at the same time, two things, right? It's like, I forget the name of the book. It might be Good to Great, but knowing your hedgehog, right? It's like, I'm not good at yoga. I'm not even good at understanding yoga, right? So someone, I did at one point have a coach that was a yoga instructor. I'm like, I tried it, and I realized that that wasn't our core competency. So I can still innovate within my core competency, which is training within a broader, umbrella of fitness, which could be rowing, cycling, Pilates, 305 fitness where you're dancing all over the place, right? So I can still innovate within my core competency under a bigger umbrella, right? So try not to chase too many squirrels, in the sense that a lot of times you have way more opportunities to do things than you could actually do and do well, right? So that was, you know, because people come to like, yeah, you were bringing a lot of ideas, other people bring ideas, and it's like, okay, well, scale of 1 to 10, let's rank these, and with the time I have, which ones are we going to try to attack and roll into? Now, so there's that way of thinking about it. There's also my mindset has always been, if something's big, new, and flashy, and everyone's rushing in that direction, I'm going to do a 180 and find a completely different direction to go and still innovate and do something, right? Just like now, it's like everyone is creating an app and has online this and online that, and I'm like, yeah, this is true. I'm going to do some of that, but there's definitely going to be a component that I change, that I find a way to differentiate, right?
And so what makes your approach so unique?
Which one? The approach to running the gym, or just as a trainer?
Just
itself?
as far as like programming and as from the coach mindset.
Because I think we do a better job of actually trying to boil down and explain the science behind why you're doing what you're doing, right? I've long since thought that if I create an army of super clients that don't need me at some point, because I've taught them so well that they could go out and train other people, even though they don't have a personal trainer cert. That's my philosophy, right? Not just having creating someone that has to hold on and has to sign up for the next thing that I'm doing because I've gotten them results, and all they know is that they've gotten results. They don't necessarily know, they kind of know how they did it, but if they had to go off and do it on their own, they might not be able to because they don't have the why foundation underneath, right? So I think that's one thing that sets us apart, is like, in this day of like making sure that you trust science sort of deal, and make sure that you understand science and understand what it means for what you're doing. We try to pass that along to our clients, because look, like I said, on the average personal training client, you see them 2 days out of the week. That's 2 hours out of 168 hours in a week. But the real magic of what they get done and what they can achieve happens when they're not here. So I need to really like dig in and make sure that they understand the why, because the what, the who, and the how, that all sticks a lot more when they understand the why.
Yeah, I know, especially obviously having done it with you every day. Our client base had a very, very deep knowledge of the why, and they could go 6 weeks and not see you, or they go on vacation and they come back and they know what things they need to do, what things they need to work on, what equipment they can use, what things they can kind of make use of in their own house to kind of still get those results, which I think is amazing. It's that, teach a man to fish mentality, where it's you want to give them as much for their money as you obviously as you can, which I've always respected that.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. And it's teach a man or woman, or man and woman to fish, or
Fair enough.
person, or gender neutral individual.
I just, I mean that in the global sense of
I know, I'm kidding.
So how would you describe, now going to the business thing, how would you describe your approach to business? Because obviously gyms, like you said, there's a giant place down the corner that had all the bells and whistles, had a giant floor plan. I remember when they were building it when I was back there in New York, and everyone was like, oh no, they're coming in town, they're going to take over, and everyone was really scared. And you were like, nope, this is what we do. We're going to continue to do what we do. And how did that approach come about?
So here's what I'll say. Core values and a mission drive everything. Core values, having a solid mission, change people's lives through fitness, right? Having core values of, we, not me, treat people right. There's a lot that happens even before you put in the first dumbbell or the first piece of turf, right? But then you take your values, you take your mission, and you build systems around that. Having, all the coaches be able to train any of our clients, because we have not just
New York.
It's a loud fire truck that just goes. But you have a system of programming, and not just a system of programming, but a system of programming in which all the coaches had about a 90% to 95% understanding. And there might be something that one coach says that another coach might not get, and you have to converse, or you have to talk about it. But where, it's like, I like to equate it to the, watching an NFL game, and the coach has his play sheet, and he's calling it a play sheet, and all the other coaches know what that play is on the play sheet. That's what we had set up and in place as a system. And then, just our model in general of being, the studio itself is the business, and the coach is the business within that business, versus every individual person having their own business, right? And in that regard, clients, and getting to work with all the different trainers, they were clients of the gym, and the community and the family that was the gym, not just one trainer. And if that one trainer left, and that person says, well, why? I don't want to be here anymore because that one person's here. That's not here. That one person's not here. We tried to keep it where clients come in for the experience, and all of the trainers, right down to the front desk, were a part of the experience, right? So I think that's one of the things that kind of helped us be a little bit different as well, right? From a lot of other places that exist, that do what we do in New York City.
Yeah, it is funny though. You do see that there's so much tied to the trainer, and it's not it's obviously not a good business model for a business owner, for you to go, oh, I have this guy who brings in, all these people, and this is great. But then if that guy leaves, you don't have if you can't step away from your business and have it run and let it do its thing, obviously you don't have a business. So right. I've always loved your approach to that. And I think that it is true that any one of us could have picked up a program. And we also, there's another thing that you didn't really talk about, is that we are all so well versed in all of the methodologies, all of the different movements, the why we're doing these movements, why this is the exercise that is grouped with this one. Every single person has that understanding. We would constantly be doing breakout sessions going, okay, this is why we're doing this. This is a new movement we're going to add. This is the proper setup for this. And so every client is getting, no matter who picked up their program for that day, they are getting, first of all, from the top, and then as that trickles down through us, which I thought was also a very incredible setup.
Cool. Yeah. Each one teach one, right? Someone taught me and helped me, and luckily I gained access to a lot of these guys, like the Josh Hinkins and Alan and Rachel, and the coach, Coach Coach Doses of the world and Martin Rooney's of the world. So it's like I'm learning all this stuff from all these people. I mean, it'd be silly for me to not come back and make sure that my coaches were evolving from a professional standpoint and like, stepping our game up and everything that we did.
And I love that we also became, and I'll still say we because I still feel part of the family, but
You are.
BSF was the place that the coaches came to train. So all of the different coaches and trainers, it's always I always used to say it's where trainers train because
Yeah.
it's like the people who are at the top of their game kept coming to us and to you because
Mm-hmm.
you were staying ahead of the curve. You were staying, current with whatever the knowledge is and constantly evolving. And that's the problem you go to with these fitness studios, and you're maybe running on a treadmill and you may be, lying in a pool of sweat at the end of the class. But is that a barometer for success? Or like, are you growing? Like, are you actually getting better?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's funny too, because I'm like, great coaches have coaches, right? Great coaches are coachable too, right? But I've always said to the coaches that I have trained, and some of them have gone off to, a lot of them, as you know, work Peloton, right? I am in no way, shape, or form. I did not create a TRX or a pull-up or a kettlebell or the concept of kettlebell complexes or a sandbag. There might be one or two things that I've done. Pause. There's of the stuff that I do, a very small fraction of it is uniquely mine, right? It's like Mike Boyle, who's like one of the smartest strength coaches in the game, will tell you if you are not stealing other people's shit, you are stupid, right? He's like, I am constantly at conferences in the front row listening to other people's presentations and stealing their shit and like using it. Sorry, I don't know if this is. I
You
don't
can
know if
say
I
whatever
can
you want.
but like when I heard him say that for the first time, I'm like, yo, that's true. And I think it's interesting, right? That's one of the things that kind of in the beginning, when I was kind of like a little, you know, at an Equinox walking around in a blue shirt, but I had just left a corporate job and I had like some resources to be able to go off and do things. And I would go to like, I'd travel and just like, once I got introduced to the people that Equinox is bringing in, and I'm like, wow, I need to go to these Perform Better conferences. And then when I meet people there, I'm like, hey, can I come to, Austin, Texas? I'm going to be in Austin for like, a bike ride, a Livestrong challenge. Can I come and visit your gym? I said that to Todd Wright, who owns a place called Train for the Game, but he was also Kevin Durant's strength coach. And, he's the head strength coach for the 76ers now, right? So, and he's like, yeah, dude, come down and, let me know when you're here and I'll come down and show you around the gym. And next thing you know, here's this guy who's, well respected. He was the University of Texas's basketball strength coach at the time, who came and spent like 2 hours just talking to me and talking training and talking business and like all this other stuff. So, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like you want to separate yourself from the field. You have to kind of seek out other people. And I did that and brought it back to New York, right? Where everyone was in their own bubble of like, I'm a trainer in New York. I am the crap. No one can tell me anything. It's like, no, there's someone in, Seattle, Washington doing some super smart stuff that might not be a trainer in New York with a gajillion thousand followers and their shirt off. But they're like super smart.
I feel attacked. I feel attacked.
Just what's that?
I said I feel attacked. You're talking about shirts off. Just kidding.
No, just kidding. No, but I mean, look, we live in an Insta world where people, it's, I don't know, what do you kids do these days? Swipe left, swipe right.
That's what the kids are doing.
Whatever apps you guys use to do you're done. I feel like Instagram saying it's like, see someone, it's like, oh, that's nice. And then what do they have to say? And then it's like, and then you look at it, it might be a picture of like a thumbs up. You're like, that's a stupid picture. And like down below can be the most insightful, like perfectly written, philosophy of life and fitness that everyone needs to read, but no one stopped to read it because it was just a picture of a thumbs up. right?
Yeah.
You know how I feel
I,
kind of about it.
no, I do know how you feel about that, but no,
Put a picture of a booty there, and it's like, yeah, and then they'll stop and read it, right?
so you kind of touched on it that you came from the corporate world. You
Mhm.
were kind of in a sense a desk jockey working for a big corporation. How
Yes.
like obviously you didn't just one day come up with the entrepreneur mindset. Like what from way back instilled that in you to say, I know I can do this, or one day I can do this, or was it a conscious thought, or was it something that evolved over time?
I'll be honest, I did not always know. But what I did always know is I watched the hustle that was how my family had to operate growing up. Where if my dad was a truck driver, my mom was a manager at Walmart, and sometimes at night they went and cleaned offices, and I went and helped them, right? And I got to a point where, I'd say about my ninth grade year of high school, where one of my teachers challenged me. She said, "When are you going to stop acting stupid and start being as smart as you really are?" And I'm like, "Huh? What you talking about, lady?" And then where I'm from, it's like North Florida. It is also known as the Redneck Riviera, Panama City, Florida. So if my accent starts to come back a little bit, it only comes back when I get mad. But getting to a point where I'm like, you know what? I could I could actually get out of this town and be something and be somebody without chucking a football or going into the military. Because at that point in time, that was really the only way you got out of there if you were a young African American male. It was not normal for an African American male to be educated and be able to leave town for academic reasons, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, from playing sports in high school, working two jobs in high school, I started doing like internships when I was in, at the Department of Defense when I was in high school, and I started interning at Merck while I was in college. In college, I had like three jobs most of the time, right? Um, and I think the entrepreneurial mindset didn't really kick in. Even when I was in business school at NYU, I had no idea that I was going to become an entrepreneur, right? Um, but business and entrepreneurship is about having an idea to fill a need and having an unwavering faith that you're the one person that could get it done. I think at the most basic level, that's what like entrepreneurship is, right? But that's also the reason that not everyone can be an entrepreneur, because it's like, some people might be like, what, I just don't want to deal with it. Yeah, so those are the people that will work for someone else. That's fine, perfectly fine, right? Um, because you also need to have a cast iron skillet for a stomach to be an entrepreneur too, right? And then, yeah, so I think it didn't really hit me until, um, I was an engineer for Merck for many years. I was in drug development finance for Merck for many years. I was in corporate finance for Pfizer. But it was when I became a personal trainer, just I did it for myself because I was tired of sitting behind a desk and gained 30 pounds and couldn't play company league softball without like tearing a hamstring. It was the worst. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I got my personal training certification, started using it for myself. And after a while, it was like a couple of my friends from business school at that time, we were out drinking one night. As the story goes, we were out drinking one night and the girls were sitting at one table and I was, the guys were sitting at another table, and I heard them talking about exercise. And I'm like, all that shit is wrong. Everything that you're saying is wrong. So I like chime in and like correct them. And after a while, they're like, how do you know all this? And I'm like, I'm really a personal trainer. And they're like, no. I'm like, yes. So eventually they were like, hey, you got to start training us. And I started training them. And they were like, hey, we love that. Love it. Feeling good, getting stronger, losing some weight. We should pay you for this, shouldn't we? And I'm like, yeah, you can pay me for it. But it was my friends, seeing them get results, seeing them get strong, seeing them feel better, seeing them start to help me build a business that I didn't even know that I had. They were like, we're going to tell all of our friends and they're going to come train with you. I'm like, okay. Um, but understanding that there was something that I wanted to do within the world of fitness, because I've been working all these years in the pharmaceutical industry since the age of 19 when I started as an intern with Merck in the pharmaceutical industry, and then getting to a point where I felt like I haven't helped a single effing person because I've created and worked on drugs that, for the most part, people shouldn't need. All right, diabetes and obesity drugs. Can we move more? Can we eat right? Can we stress less? Can we get some sleep? Right? Can we work on mindset motivation versus just popping a pill and continue to drive to the all you can eat buffet, a couple times a day. So I'm like, damn, I'm not really helping anyone. And it wasn't until I got to Equinox, right? I left the corporate world, had like my own book of business that I built outside of working my 9 to 5. So I'd actually start to kind of build my own business there. And it was when I got to Equinox that I realized how much of an impact culture and environment and the ability to be able to focus, and at minimum everyone working in the same um, in the same direction for the same purpose, right? I know. I mean, I used to work with you guys like back in the day, and we'd be trying to train, and next thing you know, someone's like, "Hey, bro, you using that kettlebell?" And it's like, you know what? Yeah, I bought that kettlebell. That doesn't belong to the damn gym. It's funny. I was actually like, it's in here somewhere. I was telling the story about how I still have some equipment that has like my name written on it because people used to like take it. But I think the entrepreneurial mindset really hit me there when I really could quantify and see the impact that environment had on someone's experience and therefore results. And I'm like, man, if I can get someone like to be less stressed out, eating right, being able to get more done from a training program perspective in a setting where I control it, I think that is a gap, and that's something that I think I could do a really good job of finding the solution to that, and I think I can do it better than anyone else. So I'm going to go do it.
And clearly they feared that because I remember them sending you all sorts of legal notices and
Oh
letters and
yeah,
threats.
it was everything. But luckily, my attorneys were bulldogs, and they got to one point where they were like, "You just go worry about your business. We'll take care of them." And then all of a sudden, it got quiet. I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then it was funny because they sent me a email one time that's like, "Oh, looks like they're looking for a new general counsel," and it's like a job posting for the general counsel. They were just kind of laughing. I was like, "I don't know what you guys did, but you did a good job." But here's the thing, right? It's like that also, again, culture, creating a place that's accepting of people. Um, you can't trump it, right? And even from a workplace and from a training space, So that was, I don't know if I just always had the entrepreneur inside of me, but that was like what prompted me. Like, I'm here to change people's lives, and if I can do it in a better environment in a way that's more sustainable and gets me better results faster, and if I have to go create that myself, I'm going to go do that. And that was just where I was.
How important was it to have the business mindset before having the trainer mindset? Did you ever think about that? Because for me, I know that a lot of people want to start businesses. A lot of people may be entrepreneurially minded or have big ideas, but people don't realize at the end of the month there's still P&Ls, there's cash flows you have to worry about, there's the
Yeah,
business
yeah,
aspect of it. And I think that's the thing that the majority of people's blind spot is not the coming up with something cool. It's how do I make money off of this and how do I make it sustainable?
yeah. So I think it's important to have that. It's important to have like I said, you don't have to have an MBA. I mean, I have an MBA, and there's still some things I'm like, wait, hold on, wait, let's go over this again, right? But again, what you do have to have is a cast iron stomach and understand that it's about risk reward, and not just risk reward, but taking action and making decisions. And some of those decisions might suck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how would you describe your leadership style? Speaking of having to make really tough decisions, how would you, describe or distill your style?
I'm definitely a very open leader. But there have been times where I have not stuck to my guns that my coaches taught me, which is hire slow, fire fast. And now I hire very slow, right? Extremely slow to make sure that people fit into our core values or that they follow our core values or share our core values. I think as a leader, I will give people room to learn and the backing to learn. What's up, Tony? Speaking of learning, there's Tony. Um, and give them the autonomy to learn and go and do, right? So if I create a bunch of people, again, same way if I create a bunch of clients that don't need me at one point, if I create a bunch of employees that are like, boss, you should go on vacation because we got this. And I'm like, yes, But yeah, I want people to learn. I want people to grow. I want people to lean on me for advice, but not always stand there looking at me saying, what do I do now? Okay, no, you tell me, what do you do now?
Yeah.
Right? The CEO of a company doesn't make every decision. He has his CFO, his chief marketing officer, and below them, they have people that are making decisions. So I like to, from a leadership standpoint, I'll hold people accountable, I'll hold them to the fire, but also say, hey, learn to make decisions because that's what I'm paying you for, not just coming in and like going through the motions. I'm paying you to come in, use your brain, make decisions, and help move the company forward. That's what you're here for.
When you talk about obviously turnover in that business, how many of you talk about firing slow, or hiring slow rather. It's a testament to your style because you look at the people who have legitimately been there since day one who are still there. Is it 7 years now? Or 6 years?
8.
Oh my God.
May will make 9.
Insane. 9 years, especially in that market, and you have Joanna, Tony, Fran, all the have been there since day one in an industry that you see people flip from one place to another. They're cycling, they're doing functional, they're doing this, they're doing that. There isn't a lot of loyalty, so it's obviously speaks to your leadership style that people will see you through all the ups and downs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the last time we hired a coach was almost 2 years ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But I mean, look, it's like, and yeah, I do have a stack of resumes, right? But at the same time, I'm like, you find the right people, you treat people well, you treat them with respect, you demand respect from them, and you give them a sense of autonomy and ownership, right? And that, it's like the hierarchy of human need. It's not just about money, right? It's also about a sense of belonging and a sense of like owning something, whether that if it's not like a part of the business, like a responsibility for a part of the business, right? It's like, hey, you are kind of the program person. You're like our, person that programs only classes and stuff like that. So I mean, when you give people more than just something, when you give people more than just the job to come to. What you got in that glass there, Dean? Water?
It's water. It's too early for anything else. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you give people more than just a job to come to. They appreciate that, So I think that's one of the things that's helped us, like from a retention standpoint. And look, I understand like that eventually people might want to go on to become string coaches and in college athletic programs, right? Obviously, they can't get that here, and eventually people will progress on. But I want to give people more of a reason to stay than a reason to leave.
I love that, and I think it's funny that your approach and me, being a new father now, he's two and a half almost, which is crazy. He's also an insane athlete, which is also crazy.
That new father smell is wearing off
It's
now.
wearing off, I know. But it's funny what you described is saying, setting people up for success and not having to micromanage and letting them do what they need to do, and knowing that you provided that foundation leads me into, like, how do you, as a father of two beautiful kids and you have an amazing wife, how do you balance the work life?
So
Because you used to be really shitty at it. You were such a workhorse, and I like to see you. I like seeing you enjoy yourself more. It's nice.
yeah, here's the deal, right? It's like when you come home and like my son's like, Dad, what are you doing here? I'm like, I live here. um, Look, you understand, and my wife and I have had like many conversations about this, right? Yeah, when you're an entrepreneur, unfortunately you have two families, and the job is like, the business is something that you have to give a lot of energy and attention to grow and nurture, so that you can have the ability to step away from it, and that it's not just a job that you have to go to and cannot run without you. Work has to be put in on that end. But say, for example, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, generally speaking, I pick my kids up from school, right? And we go get ice cream or we go do whatever. And some mornings I drop them off. And on the weekends now, I work on the weekends if I want to, right? That's family time. So starting to draw some lines and draw some barriers. And then remember that, my business coaches who are out there in Santa Clarita, Alan and Rachel Cosgrove, they always talk about, and this is one of the big problems, or one big thing that a lot of business owners don't start with, is beginning with the end in mind. Why did you create a business? Did you create a business just to like have something to come to, or to create a lifestyle in which you can do the things that you want to do? Right. And it's interesting, like over the summer, even during this COVID, period, I'd wake up, train some clients, have some meetings, and be done by a certain time, and go play football or, do whatever with the kids and grill every night. Right. It's like, this is actually quite nice, because I have built a company and a staff and a team, and we have a system and procedures and everything that you need to make virtual training flow all the way through, right? And it's like, and we had the same thing. We had the same thing with the business. Now it's like, I'm here. I train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings, sometimes Fridays. Saturdays I don't work. After a certain time during the day, Saturdays and Sundays I don't work. Certain time in the day or for meetings, there's a time where I can buzz out, go home, have dinner with the fam, read a book when I go to bed, right? So those are the things that I want to do. And it's remembering that lifestyle design, beginning with the end in mind. I wanted to create a business that would support my lifestyle. And in doing so, training is something that I love. So I'm not trying to build a business where I'm never in it, right? I want to still be training people, because it's what I love, right? But then, understanding that the kids, they're going to get to a point where they realize it's like, hey, you are always working. It's like, man, I feel like crap when you say that, but those horseback lessons aren't free. You have to remind us, like, that pony you want by itself costs a lot of training sessions. No, but so yeah, you have a vision of what you want your life to be, and you build a business around that, and you take action steps around that too, right? And that's something that I had to get, I'd say in like the 2018, 2017 timeframe, I kind of slipped away from that. 2018, 19, I really kind of got back on track. And like this year has been, even in a pandemic, has been pretty cool. I've gotten to spend a lot more time with my kids and realized that they can be both very funny and very annoying all at the same time, but I still love them for it.
Only a parent will know that.
Yeah, right. Your kids are beautiful. It's like, you should see him at night.
Yeah. Jumping off couches and killing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
how do
For sure.
you personally, obviously I know how you take care of your clients, I know how you take care of your family. How do you personally stay sane? What is your daily routine that is like, okay, if I don't do these things, I can't be KG?
I don't stay sane. No, I'm just kidding. Um, well, first and foremost, the first thing I do before I leave the house is kiss everyone, even though they're still asleep. And you just remember why why it is you do what you do is so that you love what you do and you take care of your family, right? And then you take care of the people around you, staff, and people are like, well, why don't you just close your doors and go do something else? I'm like, well, because I have not just all of our clients, but I have 16 mouths to feed in the form of staff, right? So keeping a sharp eye on why you do what you do and having an unwavering faith that no matter what happens, just like my Instagram post today, it's like, dude, just weather the storm, take a deep breath and take the next step. And unless like a meteorite falls on my head and kills me, I can always get back up and keep it moving. But I also do a lot of other stuff, right? Like right now I'm testing Levels. I don't know if you heard of that
No,
company,
you always
but
have some product you're testing though. I love it.
dude, I got my desk is full right now. These guys, I've been doing a lot of tart cherries, a company called Cherry Bundy. I know it's like a big plug video now. But it's actually been awesome. I've been doing like a 7-day challenge. I actually feel quite well. Dean, I got it all. CBD from this company called Sojin, which was actually founded by some former Goldman traders who were like just tired of not being able to like be at work and focused in a healthy way, if you know what I mean.
Got it.
And they came across CBD and formulated CBD that like really helped them stay focused. So when it comes to like, kind of making sure that from a parasympathetic or from an autonomic nervous system standpoint, that there's balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic. Because for a long time there, you were stuck in fight or flight mode, and next thing you know, can't sleep. Next thing you know, you are gaining weight and things are going crazy. I use New Calm. That is a system that also is a parasympathetic, nervous system tuning fork.
We need to
I
get
have
some
a Whoop.
sponsors here. Oh, I got the Whoop.
I have an Aura ring
You
because I think
both.
it does a better job. Yeah, I know. I'm like, I have a satellite following me around.
I'm gonna have to
But
tag all these people in this post.
I know, right? I meditate twice a day. Infrared sauna. We have an infrared sauna here. I have a single person infrared sauna at home that I use, right? And I get in there and I meditate, right? So all the things that I've been, kind of researching, and it's like research, yeah, I want to try it out, and it might be placebo as hell, but if I feel better,
It
yay,
works.
victory! It's great. And then again, I have like a coach that I've done some work with, a lady named Allie Gilbert, who's like also giving me some other ideas of like ways to just keep my nerves like boom, right? Keep level. I try to walk a lot. And turn my headphones off and just like be present, right? Because a lot of taking care of yourself starts with taking care of your thoughts, what you're doing, and obviously on top of that is the working out. Make sure I get at least 3 to 4 workouts in a week, and I make sure I rest a lot because for as much as I work, and some mornings I get up really early, so as little as I rest some days, there's some times where workouts might not benefit me
That's
as
why I
well
love
as they
this
can.
thing.
They're correct.
Yeah.
So that's why I take my behind over to, Restore Hyper Wellness. I might get an IV drip or something like that, or just put on the Normatex and get my nerves to chill out, right? Get myself to chill out.
Well,
And I think,
I know you got to run, so I don't want to like keep you forever, but I want to just ask you like one more thing. Like, what did you learn about your business during COVID?
what did I learn about my business during COVID? Um, I think that I learned that it's resilient. The model that we have of putting people first, having a great culture, having the systems and tools that you need to train both in person and virtually, paid off, right? The what we did to flip to doing virtual, as early as we did, was a business plan that I'd had in my pocket for about a year and a half that I just never utilized because we didn't have the time. B, we were busy in the gym, right? What I learned about my business is that people love us and appreciate us, right? The number of notes that I've gotten from people that are like, you've kept us sane during this time. You kept us sane when we were in the gym, and you really kept us sane out of the gym. So I think I really saw how much people valued and appreciated what it is that we do, and the fact that we were actually prepared to keep them going. That was pretty cool. But yeah, we have a resilient business that's been tested, and it's still being tested. But I think, with the people that we have on top of the systems that we have, we'll be fine. Right.
So we're now talking about those businesses, talking about the online, talking about in person. Like, where can we find Kelvin Gary, BodySpace Fitness? Where can we learn more? I want all the socials. Give us where you are.
So my OnlyFans account. No, I'm just kidding. I just learned about that the other day. I was like, what is the world coming to? My Instagram is at Kelvin Gary. My Twitter is at Kelvin Gary. I'm going to be a little bit more active on that too. At KelvinGary. And at BodySpace NYC is the gym, right? And you can hit me up with any questions. I love answering people's questions. I'll get to them when I can. But yeah, that's where you can find me. That's where you can find us. If you're in New York City, 47 West 14th Street in Union Square, that's where we are. Again, I like chopping it up with people too. And someone's like, "Oh, you like arguing?" I'm like, "No, you can talk about things and have differing viewpoints."
It's called discourse. Yeah.
Correct.
No,
But civil.
I
Right?
think, well, that's the thing. I don't think that's the problem, is people are so averse to having any disagreement or having a varied opinion that people just shy away from all that. And I love that you are always a man of your word. You're incredibly generous with your time, with your knowledge, and with your experience. And I've learned so much from you. And I know that anybody who goes to any of those socials will learn just as much. And if you are in New York City, you guys definitely need to check BSF out. And of course, it has a soft place in my heart, but it's also legit. So.
For sure. Hey, that one last point.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest learning points come from disagreements and debates, right? So you should seek out a debate and a conversation with someone that might not have the same view. You might learn something. At minimum, you'll sharpen your saw too, right?
I love it. Kelvin Gary, I know you're off to running to another session or grab one of the kids. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
All right, brother. See you good.